All right. Another MUN day. Definitely one of the more unique.
MUN Summit 2023, MUN Day. Another year, another day for MUN.
Well, I mean, listen, it's not the weirdest of, unique days if you think about it. I mean, there's Mountain Day in Japan on August 11th. Did you know there was a
I think
Mountain
that's
Day?
cool. That's a day after my birthday. So as long as there's no other day on my birthday, then I can have that day. I'll call it
There's
the David Day.
there's Global Hand Washing Day. Count your
Okay.
count your buttons day. Did you know that?
Listen, I counted my buttons, and today is MUN Day. So, Daniel, what are we talking about today?
Well, I think we're talking about some really important things here. I mean, not that I think a lecture by us on strange world holidays wouldn't be interesting, but
That being said, and I kind of right before we hopped on this, on our call or whatever it may be, to talk about MUN, we were always talking about how wonderful it is that each and every year there are new people that join MUN, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Is what type of things did you know before you joined your first MUN conference? Is that right?
yeah, it's definitely something very important to know. And I think that's why the title of this lecture is 10 Things to Know for Your First MUN Conference.
10 things. Whoa, that's a lot of
Top 10.
things.
It is a lot of things.
Top 10. So much pressure.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
How are we going to manage?
I don't
So
know.
we'll start with introducing ourselves. I'm Daniel. This is David. We are the co-founders of WiseMee, a model and public speaking resource website. David, why don't you read the slide and tell us a bit about ourselves?
Yeah, we strive to become the leading online resource for model United Nations as a whole. We're talking about what you should know before the conference, and we want to be that resource at the end of the day to give you all the things that you need. So, giving you the tools to succeed in modern United Nations and excel in the world today. So, it's a lot more than just MUN, and hopefully we'll kind of shed some light in how we see things even through this short presentation.
I think that very much the inspiration for us to create WiseMe now a number of years ago was because we didn't feel there was like a one-stop shop for everything MUN. There was like one article here and one article there, and really seeing the transformation of this activity in the time that we've done it, and how the trends have changed, and sharing specifications and stuff. Really, really, really fascinating. So
Everything changes. That's the one constant in
one
life.
constant. That's such a
You know,
David line. The only
yeah.
constant is change.
The only constant we have in life is change, and that like you just said, Daniel. It's one of the big inspirations that we had to build out WiseMe, because we saw MUN changing each and every year, and the information was kind of dying out with that change. Because as new students come in, the older ones leave, and they take that knowledge with them. So we wanted to create that resource that we hoped we would have had back then.
Yeah, it was definitely very special to see, and also like I said, when like an MUN veteran, if someone starts in high school, the guy who was the head of chairing for my first conference in the UK, he started MUN when he was 10,
When
and
he
by the
was
time he
10,
joined, yeah, Ingram was 10, and he was 20 when I met him, and he had 60 conferences under his belt. When someone like that retires, the wealth of MUN, like real lived experience, is really significant. But we digress. Let's get into some of the top 10 things to know for your first MUN conference. So if you've done MUN before, we'll try to put some things for people with some experience, but this is very much meant to be, you're doing your first MUN, your second, of your first conferences. This is meant to be 10 things to keep in mind and not taken as a given. But I would definitely say this is as relevant for someone who's going to their first conference as it is someone going to their fourth. Like we may say things here that, you know, you may not have thought of. So, you know, worth a listen. Let's start with, I think, number one. What's it going to be? Drum roll.
Read the study guide. Now, this might sound like a given, and we were contemplating also what should we put as number one? Why did we put read the study guide as number one? Daniel, maybe you can shed some light on this. Why is this out of all things? Okay, maybe we could have put our make a research binder. I don't know, write an opening speech.
Actually, it's funny that of all things you say research binder, because actually one student a number of years ago, a delegate at a conference, whose name I will not say, though I doubt she's going to watch this video, huge research binder, like this big. She's representing Russia. And I started reading through the binder. I'm like, wow, you got the history of Russia from, like, you know, the Kiev Rusk, you know, definitely a lot of focus on the revolution, for Russian politics, Russian economy, nothing about the topic. And I asked her, like, did you read the study guide? And she said, no, but I learned a ton about Russia. And I told her, if you ever win a Best Delegate Award, which she eventually did, I said, I want that binder. That's a lot of days died, which has nothing to do with the topic. So yeah, you know, definitely proved that reading the study guide is not something that everyone feels they need to do. They can wing it, they may know it. The study guide is, you know, a suggestion. And it does make sense that, like, look, not every study guide is great. Not every chair knows how to write a study guide. We have an article on what to do if your study guide's not good. But that doesn't mean that there's no value to the study guide, even if it's poor. If it's well written, it's a great starting off point. This is the framing the chair gives the topic. So there's definitely value to that. And even if it's not good, this is the only thing you know everyone else read. So that's the only point you have in common.
That's what you got. You hit the nail on the head. You know, but of course we did speak about this beforehand. This is the starting point everyone else is starting with. In business, we may also call this just-in-time learning, or learning about what you know other people will learn about. So just like your story, Daniel, about the delegate that learned everything about Russia, but heck, if you don't know what the topic is, you know, it's because we're talking about a specific thing that went on, you know, on a certain topic, then what good is it that you know everything else about the country? You know, you need to be a lot more focused. We actually have a few articles about that, and how and why the study guide is that starting point. And it's the one thing that everyone else hopefully read as well. You're going to see, no matter if the study guide is good, bad, or really bad, it's still going to be the narration, at least in the beginning, of what's going to happen in that conference, what people are really going to be talking about. And that's really your North Star in the beginning of what direction you want to go. When you start telling a story, because everything we do is telling that story, we're bringing up other emotions, and we need to have a starting point of that story. And the beginning of the story is your study guide. It's been written for you. It doesn't matter if your chair knows what they're doing or not, or read our article and guide about how to write a study guide. You know, the point is that this is the beginning of the story, and that's your starting off point. And if you're not there, you're already off.
Definitely sounds about right. All right, let's go on to thing number one. Read the study guide. Even if you read the topic and you're sure that you got it all, you know, it's worth doing whether or not.
Yeah.
And number two, research. I guess this.
Yeah. Oh, this is super complicated, Daniel. how am I going to research? First off, I love your story, and I'm going to go back to that one. If you do research and you didn't read the study guide, you don't know what the topic is, the internet is full of information.
The internet is full of information. I definitely second that.
The internet is full of information. You could do a lot of research for hours, for days, for years, for a lifetime. You might be lucky and actually know everything about the topic, but it's better to start off somewhere. Do your research, and please do it after you read the study guide and after you figured out what country you are representing. That way you've got a really good basis to get started and don't go down a big rabbit hole.
Definitely true. So I think we don't need to harp on too much more about that one. But it's definitely, do the research. Don't just read the study guide. Like, learn about your country, learn about the extra steps. Really, really helps. I would say at least take 20 minutes of internet search, at least that. Like, read the Wikipedia page. I'll say this: it's it's a very, it's very updated and very reviewed. Doesn't say everything, but definitely has some good things there. All right.
Daniel says 20 minutes. At that same time, we do have guides on how to do even shorter research that will still give you a really good point to a starting point. The main thing is, but in order to do that, first have to read the study guide. I'm not going to tell you how long it's going to take you to read it, but probably not so long. And then do some research. I can't tell you how many people travel around the world sometimes to go to an MUN conference, and you can tell that they didn't even spend 20 minutes doing any research, and I'm still amazed. So please, at the very least, spend some time doing research. You're going to enjoy your experience more, and everyone else in that conference is going to enjoy it that much.
Yeah, very, very, very fair. All right, moving on to thing number 3, and it is know the ROP.
Why is this, Daniel? Why are we talking about ROP? That's boring.
Yeah, ROP is boring. We don't that. If we thought the study guide was bad,
what is this ROP? Rules and procedure, preamble, like all these weird words, honorable chair, distinguished delegates, moderated caucus. Come on, why do I have to know that stuff? It doesn't make any sense to me anyway.
It's a good question. So tell me, Miles, why should we know the ROP? You just made it sound really.
Yeah. Why? And one of the examples I always like saying is, let's say you did your research. Let's say you actually read the study guide. Let's not talk about MUN for a moment. Let's think about it. You're a lawyer representing a client in court. If you don't know how to act in court, trust me, you're gonna get kicked out of court and probably have some fines. Same thing goes in MUN.
Your client is the delegate of Honduras, and court
is in session. But the main thing is, if you don't know the rules of the game, you can't play. So that is the rules and procedure. Yeah, it may sound boring. Yeah, you might want to just show them, hey, I know my stuff. This is my speech. No, you have to say it in the right way. You have to treat people with respect in the right way that MUN says to do that. Know the ROP. It's only going to work in your favor in the long run. The more you know it, the better it is. And it takes time to truly understand the power of rules and procedures.
Yeah, I would actually say knowing the ROP is just to get the basics and not make, basic mistakes. But yeah, there's a lot you can do when you know the ins and outs. Not my first choice of how to play MUN, but I would say definitely has its place, because in the end, if you motion to divide the question and, you get the main clause on the side knocked out, that's good. If you don't know what divide the question is, you should check out a rules of procedure or our rules of procedure article, all good. Another one is the, I mean, this is already getting very specific, but on the formatting of the paper, I know of a delegate who saw a period after clause 6 out of 24 clauses, didn't mention it because it was the other side's draft. Then after the resolution passed, pointed out that a period actually legally ends the document. Therefore, the other, 16 clauses are out.
You're bringing up some very interesting advanced tactics that we're.
Oh, you're right.
We're talking about beginners here, but the main thing is, because this is things you should know before your first conference. But the main thing is, if you don't know, you won't know. And here are just a few examples of technicalities that automatically disqualify all of the hard work that you put in, and that's. So
another reason to know the ROP is to avoid those technicalities.
Yeah.
Right. Thing number 4. I think we're doing a good pace here.
Yeah.
Prepare an opening speech. Miles, what can you tell us about needing to prepare an opening speech? Well, what about the famous wing it, Miles? No, I'm kidding. You never did that and stuff.
When we say prepare your opening speech, we're not even saying, it doesn't say when. Okay, to answer your question, Daniel, you said, hey, what about the Miles way, of doing that? It was very rare that I would ever stand up and have an opening speech without having something prepared. You got to be prepared. Do not wing your opening speech. What does that mean? It doesn't mean don't amend your opening speech if you're not the first one to speak to have an opening speech. Okay, it doesn't mean that you should have your opening speech detailed word for word. Most people cannot really pull that off, but you should have a preparation of the format of that speech. We have a detailed format. You should know what points you want to bring across, and you should know how much time you have to bring that across. And those are the things that we mean by prepare your opening speech as much as possible. Yes, you may want to rehearse it. And yes, you could probably tell just by my intonation of how I speak, I start with preparation, knowing what we're going to say. So just like while we're talking right now, Daniel, we didn't just say, oh, you know what? We're going to just talk about 10 things here. What are those 10 things? No, don't worry.
We definitely didn't make it up. And I hope to count the numbers and guess where it came from.
And then count and say, oh, what number are we on now? No, we put it down. We put it down on paper and we're saying, okay, we know it well enough, or we believe we know the topic well enough that we're talking about right now, to say that we don't need to dictate every little word. We don't have teleprompters in front of us right now. If we did, that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that would definitely up that. Not so hard with Zoom and a computer screen, but who's counting?
That's what I mean by, prepare your opening speech. Know what you're going to say.
Yeah, like don't use bullet points. Don't wing it. This is totally the wrong place for that. Like later on in the debate, you will have room to be more impromptu. But yeah, prepare your opening speech. I suggest word for word. You'll have no ums, no uhs, no swallowing. I like while you're talking to fill up time. You definitely want to finish your time. 100 to 120 words. That's the magic number. I'd suggest 100. That way you can be slow, you can enunciate, you can pause. Like I feel that that's much stronger for presentation, but like what works for you. But yeah,
we have a whole article, a whole guide on how to write it. Yeah, on how to write your opening speech. There are so many different things that go into also public speaking, like Daniel said, different filler words.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah,
Make sure you don't write too much in your opening speech. Don't try to stuff too many things, but come prepared. We can't tell you how many people we've seen walk up and say, well, I've got nothing. I look forward to a
yeah, honorable
fruitful
chair,
debate.
distinguished delegates. Norway looks forward to a fruitful discussion on this very important topic. We're open to others' ideas. Please send us a note. Peace.
Think about it this way. This, in many ways, is your first audible impression. So beforehand, they saw you, and we'll talk about that later, but this is the first audible impression of saying where you as a delegate stand on the topic. And by not coming prepared and saying, we look forward to a fruitful debate, says, hey, I did not prepare anything, and I am open to having someone else tell me what I should think because I don't know what to think. Or delegate of so-and-so country does not know what to think. And they're saying that in a very nice, polite way. So
prepare your speech. I suggest the CIA method of class information action. I find that the most effective one. You can find them all in our articles. WiseMee.com, opening speech, pretty easy. Okay, let's move on to thing number, I don't even know what number it is, but we're up to whatever it is, and that is dress to impress. All right, Miles, why does dress to impress matter? Like, we should know we're dressed in Western formal business attire or traditional dress. So why does dress to impress matter?
This is point number 5. Point number 5, we're really talking about, and this is the middle ground. So in the beginning, we've got our speech, our ROP, all of these other boring types of things. Now, why on earth are we talking about dress to impress? That's a really good question. And it kind of connects right back to the opening speech. The opening speech is the audible impression. And before that, us people, we judge. There you go. If you didn't know it, now you know. We judge. We judge people before they even speak based off what they're wearing, how they look, how they hold themselves. Forget that MUN also has the rules of, what you have to actually wear. I'm saying, hey, dress up a little bit. Daniel and I, we coordinated our outfits, black and black. Why? Maybe we don't want to feel too judged based off our outfits, more based off the information we're providing. So we went with neutral. If you wanted to go out and be more flamboyant, trust me, if you wore a more brighter color, your people would say, hey, Daniel, maybe you're clashing with your background. Who knows? But these are things people judge. If you're clashing, I don't know. I'm not so good at colors. I only have a few colors, so they're safe. But if you're clashing, people will look at it. Oh, yeah, that's something going on. So dress to impress. This is your true first impression when you walk in. Make a good one, because this is all about MUN is how to win friends and influence people. And the first thing they judge you by is what you're wearing.
Yeah, so I would say, like, basically, if you don't have the formal, Western business attire or a nice suit, go get one. If you do, there's some extra considerations like being like extra nice. The point is, you're a double delegation, wear the same color as your double del, so they see that you're connected.
So you're bringing up more advanced things as well. You're talking about branding yourself and being present and having a presence in the room, being remembered. So just like your speech, if you have nothing, you have no, point of reference of who you are or what the delegation you are, because if your opening speech didn't have a call to action, same thing goes with your attire. If it's in some ways it's better to be neutral, but it's even better to dress to impress and stand out in a good way. And don't stand out in the way, don't be that person that shows up with, I don't know, sneakers with holes in it or sandals, and shorts, because we've seen this. This is not going to work in your favor, even if you had the right research and did the amazing opening speech.
Don't stand out for not doing. You don't need to wear,
yeah,
the top of the line, but care about your appearance. All right. Speaking of, what's next in this surprise bag of tips for public speaking is required? Wow. Why is this on the slide? That's like, I don't know, shocked face. Did you prank me? Did I prank you? No, there must be a reason.
How many times, Daniel, really, over the years, how many times have you gone to a conference, chaired or otherwise, and seen a delegate simply never speak? This, and sometimes we're talking about days.
I could say I've seen people like that once or twice or three or four, but probably hundreds of delegates like that over the years. And I would go further saying that, like, they're the ones who never speak. There was one delegate who had an opening speech and two other pre-written pieces of text. He waited the entire simulation until it was somewhat relevant and then read one of the other ones and then reread it a little bit later because it was also relevant.
The point isn't, we're not telling you these stories to humor you, okay?
Nor are we saying that these are examples to follow.
No, we're not saying it to humor. It's this is what you should expect, and the only way, like, this is actually a safe environment to stand up and speak in public. This is most people, many delegates that join MUN, the students or otherwise, join because they're trying to work on their public speaking as one of the things. Okay, if all you want to do is learn how to research, there are other things you can do. You can write research papers and never have the speaker talk about them, if that's really what you wanted to do. But one of the key factors is you got to work with other people. And in order to do that, you got to bring your message across, or reinforce the message that you're trying to, with the delegation that you're working with, and stand up, speak. Know that this is required, not in the sense no one's going to force you. But yeah,
your vote's worth something anyway. So if you don't speak, you still can do something. But it's definitely preferred to speak.
What's next?
What is next? Well, if I'm the one sharing the slideshow, I guess I'll be the one to the big reveal. After, like, basically, if you're not planning on speaking in MUN, I'd say even repeat your main idea. If you know what a clash is, repeat your clash, repeat your policy, 2 or 3 sentences, just keep doing it. It's a speaking exercise. You can't win friends, influence people if you're not talking. All right. Be ready to compromise.
Whoa. Tell us more, Daniel.
This is when I want to, like, drink water for a second. So you tell me.
Oh, I couldn't see you drinking water over there. Okay, cool. So many times we see delegates coming in. We have this one way of thinking. My country believes that we shouldn't fill in the blank, black and white.
Or we must.
Or we must. Is that reality, Daniel?
I would say that there are 2 big faults that happen when it comes to lack of compromise. One is I picked a position, must stick to that position because I wrote it in my position paper and I said it in my opening speech, and therefore, because I did that, I can't deviate. I'm going to lose points. The second mistake made is my country is not friends with X country, therefore I cannot agree with their policy. And when, Iran or North Korea will say that about the United States, or, China will say that about, Japan or whomever. The issue is that really leaves the delegate with that philosophy often to be forced to take sometimes a indefensible position if the delegate they can't agree with has a good, smart policy. Like that can definitely leave you in trouble. So, and I've seen delegates change their policy to be the opposite of the ones they couldn't agree with or just say no. But that's not reality. Reality is many countries work together. And in fact, you can work together with anyone who doesn't directly disagree with what you say. If they don't disagree, if Miles right now wants to turn on the air conditioner and I want to get sushi, we can do both. It's like, oh, I can't work with you because you want something completely different. It's exactly. If Miles wanted a burger and a store doesn't sell both of them, there is the compromise. Like, okay, one of us can't eat what we want. If he wants to turn on the air conditioner, I want to turn on the heating, and we're in the same room, which we clearly are.
I can think of many ways that you can turn on the heat and I'll turn on the air conditioning. Even in the same room. I'll just give you a remote that turns on the air conditioning in another room, or the heat, depending on which one I like. There are the main thing is you don't see things. You don't. We in the world we don't always see things or shouldn't see them only in black and white. And be ready to work with others and compromise on things in order to also get what your country wants or needs.
Yeah. So as far as compromise, be ready to work with others, even maybe start with a more extreme policy point than you normally would, with the purpose of compromise in mind. But definitely don't lose votes and friends just because you're sticking to an opinion you want to most strongly. And on that note of friends, we're up to the next one, which is, surprise, surprise, make friends. Something David Miles is very good at. So making friends.
I always like saying that I when I look and think about MUN, sometimes I think about the foundation of MUN is how to make friends and influence people. This is diplomacy. This is working together with others and making compromises, making friends, working together. And that's another thing that we kind of see on a regular is people like working with others that they like. If you don't like someone even personally, maybe you'll find a reason why you don't want to compromise with them. On a personal level, as much as we say, MUN, you work with exactly what your country believes. We're human beings.
Yeah, no, pretty much.
We can find ways to either agree or disagree based off what our country believes, or their values. To either go or not, or to work with them or not. Make friends. Genuine friendship is probably better.
Yeah, if you can make a real friend in MUN, that's worth it.
Make friends.
Gold,
it kind of connects right back to ROP. If you become the ROP stickler of sorts, for every little thing, no matter what actually happens, don't know if that's going to help you making friends, but know how to play the game.
Yeah, like be friendly, work with others. Very, very much a part of this. Okay, next up we have learn from experience, or I'd say more specifically, learn from the experience of others. This is kind of like a modesty point, which is like it's not all about me. And sometimes you're lucky to be in a room with some MUN masters who really know what they're doing, and there's really only to gain from learning and emulating them.
Yeah, that very, very true. I'll tell you one of my personal stories. Um, Daniel got me into MUN. He sent me a study guide. He said, read it. I told him, I have no clue what I'm reading. He said, well, you know how to speak in public. Don't worry about anything else. I came. I showed up. I still had no clue what I was reading or what I was doing, but I knew how to speak in public. I'll tell you this much. Maybe I knew how to speak in public. I had some public speaking experience at the time. I didn't know what I was doing when it came to MUN. It's not the same. I needed to turn around to others and actually be a lot more humble to say, hey, what on earth is going on? If I just stand here and talk with conviction, maybe it kind of feels like I'm going somewhere, but I am treading water. What's happening here? And you have to, it's still
It's like fake it till you make it, but also be okay with asking others questions. Like they're happy to learn. Confucius says, ask and you're a fool for a moment. Don't ask and you're a fool for the rest of your life.
There you go.
So and watch others. When you watch them make a good move, say a good line, write it down, take a note.
Don't think you know everything. Even if you do. Well, now you're already getting in the levels of consciousness, the 5 levels of consciousness, where, we start off with unconscious incompetence and then conscious incompetence. And the last level is, of course, unconscious competence, which reaches the full circle where you kind of go back to unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you really don't know. So at the end of the day,
a bit of philosophy here. You thought you were doing MUN. If you're still hanging this far, yeah, check that out.
Always know that there's always something that you don't know, and someone else is seeing.
The only constant is you don't know everything.
Is change as well.
See, you didn't know that quote existed because I just made it up.
And I love how you said that, and I love the energy that we have here, because it leads us into our final point.
Which, yeah, exactly. So we definitely need to put here, after all the serious advice, you're to compromise, public speaking, research, reading. Final point, number 10 is
have fun. Enjoy yourself. It's a learning experience. Yeah, there are some things that may sound a little boring or very procedural. We're saying make friends. That sounds very robotic. Go out to make friends, because in order to make friends, you must have this to win your MUN. No, enjoy yourself. And what's kind of funny is if you're having fun, everything else will be easier to make friends, easier to connect with others, easier to if you have a fear of public speaking, to speak amongst your friends. Be connected with others, which always goes back to how to win friends and influence people. Be connected, enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, I don't know why you're here in MUN. Because to my knowledge,
you're not enjoying yourself.
To my knowledge,
your advisor made you do it.
It's extremely rare that any MUN is a mandatory course. I don't know if I've ever come across that. I could be mistaken.
It exists
as a mandatory course. Okay. Anyway, the point is, most of it, the majority of anything I've experienced, people go there because they want to be there. Enjoy yourself.
All right. Well, I can definitely agree. Like have fun. Don't stress too much. People want to work with fun people, not stress balls. Even if you're really come from a society with a culture of excellence and half your team take awards or more or something. Really chill out, have fun. If your team does that well, you probably have a reputation of being, not fun. So all the more reason to, but like, enjoy, make friends. I've made some of the closest friends I have today, post college, and you know, still thanks to MUN and the real like joint experiences that we've had over there. So this
Yep.
brings us to the end of these 10 things to know for your first MUN conference or during your first few conferences. Hopefully from there you evolve to more other considerations. Like in our website, we have beginner MUN articles, intermediate ones, and advanced ones. Yeah. So
So
I guess
much more.
we'll finish with a plug. So you're welcome to come join us at WiseMee.com, which is our website. We have new content going up all the time, articles and templates and guides and other good things. Right, Miles? What do you think?
What do I think about our website? I love it. What do I think about MUN? I love it even more. And what do I think about to actually, 10 things to know about your first MUN conference is if you're listening to this and haven't gone to an MUN conference yet, enjoy it, cherish it, think back at it. And if you already went to an MUN conference and now you're listening to us, hopefully you can look back and say, oh, okay, I recognize those things. These are things that we can move forward for your next conference on how to actually prepare. And enjoy yourself. Have fun. I hope you're enjoying MUN as much as we've been enjoying it, and continue to enjoy it throughout our lives.
And if you're here for, during this MUN Summit Day, enjoy the other workshops. People put a lot of time and thought into them, and hopefully they're good. You shouldn't watch them because people put a lot of time. You should watch them because they're good, but hopefully they are. Yeah, drop us a line. David and I are always happy to hear from people.
Yes, indeed. All right. See you soon.